Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar and workshop series conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming MCS exams happening in August 2025. My name is Nick and I'm one of the lead tutors and evaluators for MCS at TCS. So let's look at the session outcomes. First things first, I'm going to highlight about how we should focus on pre-scene application, because as I mentioned in previous week's webinar, you are supposed to play the role of a finance manager. So you need to have a good understanding of what happens within your industry, as well as what happens within your own organization. So when developing answers, as and when necessary, you are expected to bring in pre-scene info with the intention of adding value to your answers. So I'm going to highlight how you're supposed to do this in a successful manner in a little while. And then I will be conducting an industry analysis based on the industry analysis slides which we have developed. And also, I will be taking you through your pre-scene document, thereby taking you through the internal dynamics of your chosen company partially. All right, so before we get into the technicalities, let me quickly remind you of the upcoming webinars and workshops we have scheduled for you. The third webinar, the most important one out of the four webinars which we are conducting, Answering Technique, is happening next Saturday at 9 GMT or 10 a.m. UK time. And in this webinar, I'm going to teach you crucial answering and time management technique. And not just these techniques will be taught, I will take you through one of the mock exams and explain how you should implement these answering and time management techniques in a practical sense. Also, in the fourth webinar, Exam Prep, I will be taking you through examiners' comments, because it's essential that you understand what's expected from you. And at the same time, I will share some stress management techniques, which is crucial at this examination, because as you know, as I mentioned in last week's webinar, the examiner is not just testing your theory knowledge and application. The examiner is trying to figure out whether you are capable of managing your stress levels in the most successful manner. So all these things will be taught in the fourth webinar. And then we are kickstarting our workshop series, which starts with the F2 workshop, followed by P2 and E2 workshops. And in each of these workshops, I will be taking you through the syllabus areas which are relevant for each pillar. And at the same time, I will take you through a mock exam along with its answer plan, thereby explaining how to develop answers. And in each of these workshops, just like or during the webinars, I will be conducting a Q&A session. So if you have any questions or concerns, you can get them addressed within each of these workshops. And in the final workshop, which happens 2 or 3 days before your examination, I will be sharing last minute tips with you to make sure that you walk into the exam with a high level of positivity, a high level of confidence, with an open mind, which ensures that you pass for sure in the upcoming MCS exam. So I hope you attend these weekly webinars, which are conducted free of charge without fail, so that you can easily keep tabs about your performance on a weekly basis. Also, you can get your questions addressed on a weekly basis by getting in touch with me or Jared, our co-tutor. All right, so let's look at pre-scene application. What is the right approach? First things first, if you want to apply pre-scene info when developing answers, you need to know your key information. Yes, you do have access to your pre-scene document during your examination, but if you try to go through the pre-scene during the exam, you will end up wasting a lot of valuable time. So rather than wasting time, it's essential in these weeks, when you're conducting your preparations, it's essential that you take steps to make sure that you decrypt pre-scene information. So with the intention of making sure that you understand the pre-scene, or gain a clear understanding of what happens within your industry, what happens within your company, and what appears within your financial statements and its closest competitor, we have developed something called the annotated pre-scene, which you can see in here. So I will be conducting the pre-scene analysis based on this annotated pre-scene. So on top of all the information which appears within your typical pre-scene document, we have come up with tutor notations with two objectives in mind. Objective number one is to summarize the entire pre-scene so that you are in a position to easily understand what appears within your pre-scene document. Also, as part of these annotations, we have highlighted probable exam scenarios which can be tested, and tied to these scenarios, we have highlighted probable syllabus areas which can be tested at the exam. So by having access to this annotated Preseen, you are taking your first steps towards understanding your Preseen document. Because if you understand your Preseen, then you can include Preseen info as part of your answers in the most successful manner. In addition to all these, the annotated Preseen, we have also developed a Preseen mind map, which will be shared with you after today's webinar. And this mind map consists of the most important points which are highlighted within your Preseen document. So we have developed this Preseen mind map with the intention of ensuring that you constantly you have an opportunity to constantly keep reminding yourself about the most important points which are highlighted within the Preseen. So you need not do anything else to memorize Preseen information. Simply refer to this document. As I mentioned earlier, I will share this via the WhatsApp group after this webinar. So go through this document on a daily basis. Keep yourself constantly reminded of what appears within your Preseen. If you go through this document, you need not worry about forgetting Preseen information during your examination. So as you can see, your Preseen is divided into 3 main components. However, it's subdivided into further factions. So there's an indication about the market within Dazzland, the country in which Trimayr is located. Then there's an information about different customer segments as well as market segments. Then there's indication about nationwide chains and traditional chains and franchise chains, as well as the type of franchise agreements in play within the country, and how franchise operations are conducted, what type of hairdressers we are dealing with. And then there's an indication about what happens within your chosen company, Trimayr, and how we run our franchised salons. And we have our own academy as well, how we manage our academy, and the various different departments within our organization and what these departments are up to, as well as the business model of our chosen company, along with what appears within the financial statements as of 31st December 2024. So all this information is provided as a summary so that you can easily remember the most important points which appear within your Preseen document. So you need to go through the annotated Preseen as well as the Preseen mind map. If you do so, you need not worry about remembering key information. Then with regards to the numbers, you need to remember the key ratios. So you need to, if you look at this Preseen mind map, you can see the key numbers in here, the key ratios in here. In addition to that, you need to understand what our financial performance or financial situation looked like in the previous year. And on top of that, you need to understand where we stand compared to our closest competitor in a financial sense. So that is why you need to go through the financial analysis slides. So in these financial analysis slides, we have evaluated each financial statement in depth, yet making sure to keep things simple so that you can easily understand what appears within each financial statement. So we have evaluated the SOPL, the SOFP, and at the very end, we have conducted a ratio analysis concerning each and every ratio, not just based on your own company, but concerning your closest competitor. And in one single place, you have the opportunity of understanding where we stand in a financial sense in relation to our closest competitor. So you can easily gain an in-depth understanding about the financial situation of your company if you refer to our financial analysis slides. So ratio analysis, we have covered this element as well. You need not work out ratios on your own. We have done it for you. Simply refer to the financial analysis slides which we have developed. And when conducting your preparations, it's essential that you attempt mock exams. And when developing mock exams, we have made sure to cover all syllabus areas which appear within E2, F2, and P2 syllabi. And at the same time, when developing scenarios, we have made sure to develop scenarios which are 100% aligned with your Preseen document. However, although you are conducting your preparations, although you are supposed to be conversant with how each syllabus area is tested, although you are supposed to understand how scenarios can be thrown at you or the type of scenarios which will be shared, thrown at you at your real exam, you have to be open-minded. Why am I saying this? Because as I mentioned in the first webinar, the examiner tries to replicate a real life corporate environment. So in a real life corporate environment, yes, you'd know what has happened within your company in the past. However, you are not in a position to forecast what is going to happen tomorrow, day after, a month later, a year later, and whatnot. So you can't predict the type of scenarios which can be thrown at you at your examination. So that's why you need to achieve a high level of open-mindedness. So when conducting your preparations, your job is to take steps to improve your skill set, not to try and predict the type of questions which are going to be tested at the examination. Because in a real life corporate setting, even if you are the CEO of your company, even if you are the chairman of your company, you are not in a position to forecast what is going to happen, the type of opportunities which might come our way, or the type of threats we'd be exposed to when operating within this industry. So there's a lot of uncertainty within this industry. There's a lot of competition within this industry. So in such an environment, you are not in a position to accurately predict what is going to happen tomorrow. So, when conducting your preparations, as I mentioned earlier, you should focus on improving your skill set rather than trying to predict the type of questions which are going to be thrown at you. So if you achieve a high level of open-mindedness, you are ensuring that you'd consider the information presented in each scenario when developing your answers, rather than trying to remember what you saw in the mock examinations. And remember that the scenario presented in the exam carries the latest information. So via the Preseen document, the examiner is sharing information about what has happened within your industry and your company in the past. If you look at the financial statement, it gives us a picture about what has happened within the years 2023 and 2024. But at your examination, fresh information will be shared with you. Based on this fresh information, you are supposed to develop your answers. All right, so that's what Preseen application is all about, and you'd gain a better understanding of all these elements in the third webinar, which is happening next week. Whilst teaching you answering technique, I will explain how you should work on Preseen application in a practical sense. And how are you supposed to refer to Preseen information when developing your answers? You are expected to refer or cite in such a way that it adds value to your answer. So there is no hard and fast rule which indicates that you should bring in Preseen information when developing answers. This is a common mistake carried out by students, because when marking papers, what we have understood is there's a tendency for students, especially those who are coming through exemption routes, to bring in Preseen info or include Preseen info unnecessarily. So most students, in the first paragraph, they'd say, okay, Trimayr is based in Dazzland, which operates in this type of a market, and we are involved with franchised agreements, and on top of that, we run our own set of salons. So this type of generic information is shared when the question is about investment appraisal. So if the question is about investment appraisal, what is the point of you reiterating about where your company is located and what we are up to? It makes absolutely no sense. So, when you try to show to the examiner unnecessarily that you have gone through the Preseen, you are not getting any marks. If there is generic info which has no relevance to the requirement or the scenario at hand, you are not going to get marks. Instead, you are going to lose some marks. So avoid this mistake. Whenever you are bringing in Preseen info, do it with the intention of adding value to your answer. Avoid bringing generic, irrelevant information from your Preseen. All right. And if I share another example with you, if it's a question to do with key performance indicators, there are a set of key performance indicators which we use to keep track of the performance of franchisees as per what appears within your Preseen document. So let me quickly take you to your Preseen with the intention of explaining this. I want you to, look at these KPIs. So as per the Preseen, we are utilizing these performance indicators to keep track of performance of our franchisees or performance of each salon. So there are various different KPIs which we are utilizing, out of which Two are financial KPIs. Average spend per customer visit is a financial KPI, and revenue per square meter is another financial KPI, whereas the remaining KPIs are non-financial KPIs. So there could be a question in which the examiner expects you to evaluate the current KPIs and suggest better KPIs if necessary. In such a situation, yes, you need to consider the current KPIs which are utilized within Trimayr. Okay, so that is how you should work on your Preseen application. Don't share general information with the intention of bringing in Preseen info. You are not going to get marks. Instead, you'd end up losing marks. Instead, if you really feel that referring to Preseen info adds value to your answer, for instance, if it's a question to do with KPIs, then definitely you need to talk about the current KPIs in play, if we have missed out on certain KPIs and whatnot when conducting your evaluation. So in such a question, refer to Preseen info. Other than that, if you don't feel that you can add value by bringing in Preseen info, avoid doing so. Okay, so that's how you should work on your Preseen application, and avoid overloading your response with unnecessary details just to demonstrate that you have studied the Preseen, as I mentioned earlier, because I will be teaching you these things in depth in the third webinar, which is happening next week, as I mentioned earlier. Whilst taking you through the answers, you would realize how you should do this in the most successful manner with the intention of adding value to your answers. And you can also learn how this should be tackled by referring to the suggested answers and the answer plans or the 6 mocks which we have developed. And you can also cover this whilst watching the master classes, because whilst teaching you the logic behind each answer, the theoretical concept covered within each mock exam, and whilst teaching you application via the master classes, we are also teaching you how to work on Preseen application in the most successful manner. Also, if you provide generic information, just think before providing generic information which are taken from the Preseen, just think what your role is. You are playing the role of a finance manager, and you are reporting to your senior finance manager. So when this is the case, what is the point of highlighting the fact that you are operating within Dazzland? Because when your senior finance manager is already aware of where Trimayr is located, and when responding to your senior finance manager, what is the point of highlighting the fact that we are utilizing D dollar as our currency? What is the point of highlighting the fact that we run our own set of salons, as well as we are running our business in a franchised model as well? There's no point of sharing this type of generic information with your senior finance manager when this individual is already conversant with what happens within our company and the industry. So with regards to Preseen application, do it with the intention of adding value. Don't bring unnecessary or generic information and Preseen information and include it within your answers. And how should you tackle E2, F2, and P2 syllabus areas? Prepare for application of theories and concepts. Any theoretical element which appears within your E2, F2, and P2 syllabi can be tested. So these are the syllabus elements which will be tested at your examination. So as you can see, this examination is P2 and E2 heavy. So a high level of prominence is provided towards your P2 syllabus. That's why all these areas are tested at the examination. And if you look at the E2 syllabus, again, a high level of prominence is provided. And with regards to F2, certain international accounting standards, so IASs and IFRSs, will be tested, along with sources of financing, working capital management, or sources of financing tied with WSCC, or the weighted average cost of capital, and how your group accounts will be impacted due to us going for an acquisition, for instance, will be tested at the exam, along with integrated reporting and ratio analysis. So you have to be conversant with all syllabus areas which are covered under your P2, F2, and E2 syllabi. You need not worry. We have covered all these elements when developing our 6 mock exams. So if you complete the 6 mock exams and conduct revision based on the same 6 mock exams, you are taking steps to ensure that you are covering all of these syllabus areas when conducting your preparations. And prepare for interpretation of figures and numbers at your exam. You are not expected to do major calculations. You might have to rework a gearing ratio. Other than that, you are not expected to do any major calculations. Instead, all the facts and figures will be shared with you via the scenarios or the reference material. Your job is to interpret these facts and figures. For instance, if there's a question with regards to investment appraisal, the NPV values, the IRRs, all these things will be shared with you. You are not expected to calculate NPVs or IRRs. All this information will be shared with you. Your job is to interpret these numbers. So, again, we have covered all these elements within the 6 mock exams. When you attempt them and when you conduct revision, you will understand what this is all about. And when conducting preparations, do not skip any topic. I've dealt with students who think that if they're struggling with a certain theoretical concept, they think that they can avoid a certain theoretical concept and complete preparations. That is not going to help you. If you're struggling, for instance, if you're struggling with group accounts, if you leave it aside and such a question appears within your paper during your examination, then the weightage is going to be somewhere around 60 to 70%. So if you are clueless about a 60 to 70% a question which carries a 60 to 70% weightage, if you're clueless about the type of an answer you should develop, then you end up losing a chunk of marks. If so, you will never pass this examination. So don't skip any topics, irrespective of whether the topics are hard or not. You have to be conversant with all syllabus areas. So again, you need not worry. We have made sure to cover all syllabus areas when developing our 6 mock exams. And based on these mock exams, we have developed answer plans and we have conducted master classes. So once you have watched these master classes, once you have gone through these answer plans, and when you conduct revision by redeveloping answer plans, you are taking steps to ensure that you gain an in-depth understanding of each theoretical concept. And at the same time, you are taking steps to work on your application. Therefore, you'd know how to use these theoretical concepts, theoretical knowledge when developing answers in a practical sense. And do not rely on predictions, as any area can be examined. I've seen students, not students, tutors actually. I've seen tutors out there predicting that certain syllabus areas will be heavily tested and certain syllabus areas cannot be tested at this examination, which is not true. Any syllabus area can be tested, so don't rely on predictions. Your job is to be conversant with how each syllabus area is tested. Your job is to improve your skill set, improve your answering technique, time management technique, and application skills, and at the same time, improve your stress management techniques. So don't rely on predictions. Do a foolproof set of work. If you do so, if you commit, if you are disciplined enough, if you stick to our study plan, then you will not struggle at your real examination. All right, so before we move on to the industry and Preseen analysis, let me quickly remind you what we offer at TCS. So I'm on the MCS page. If you are yet to create a free user account, click on this button and create a free user account. Once you have created your account, you'd gain access to our student dashboard. Click on this button and click on My Courses. And in front of MCS Free, you'd see an Access Content button. Click on it. And via the videos tab, you'd gain access to the recorded versions of the weekly webinars and workshops which we conduct. Then under the study material tab, you'd gain access to the answer plan of mock exam 1, along with the syllabus areas document and or the syllabus coverage document and the Preseen mind map, which I showed you a while back. And under the mocks tab, you'd gain access to the questions and the suggested answers of MCS mock exam 1. And via the exams tab, you'd gain access to our exam platform via which you can attempt mock exam 1 under real exam conditions. So we have developed an exam platform which is the exact replica of the Pearson VUE system on which you'd attempt your real examination. So the best way to master your answering, time management, and stress management techniques is to attempt mock exams under real exam conditions. So that's why we have developed this exam platform. So under the free, even under the free content, you have access to the exam platform on which you can attempt MCS Mock 1 under exam conditions. However, don't attempt MCS Mock 1 right now. Wait until I teach you answering and time management techniques in next week's webinar. After learning these things, test your knowledge, put these techniques into test by attempting MCS Mock 1 via our exam platform. So these are the free resources on offer. And if you are interested in investing on our paid content, click on this button and have a look at the sample material before you invest. And if you are yet to join the MCS WhatsApp discussion forum, click on this button and join it. Via this discussion forum, you'd gain access to a plethora of free resources. And on top of that, we'll keep you informed about the weekly webinar dates and commencement times. And on top of that, if you have any questions or concerns, you can always raise them via this chat. Myself and Jared, our co-tutor for MCS, are ready to always help you guys out. And talking about what we offer two packages, the essential course and the premium course. The essential course is designed for those who are coming through the CIMA general route or those who had completed their E2, F2, P2 OTQs. So since you have already completed your OTQs, you are well versed with theoretical concepts. So when conducting your preparations, your job is to improve your application skills. So under the essential course, we have included the recordings of all webinars and workshops conducted on a weekly basis, along with the 6 mock exams with suggested answers. So when developing these 6 mock exams, we have made sure to cover the entire syllabus, as I mentioned earlier. And you'd also gain access to Preseen analysis videos, 5 videos in total. In a little while, you are going to see or experience how we conduct our Preseen analysis session. So once you gain access to these 5 videos, you need not try and decrypt Preseen info. Simply watch these videos to gain an in-depth understanding of what appears within your Preseen. You'd also gain access to the annotated Preseen, which I showed you a while back. When conducting the Preseen analysis, I'm going to use the same document. Then you'd gain access to the industry and financial analysis slides. You will see what our industry analysis slides look like in a little while when I'm conducting the industry analysis, and you saw what our financial analysis slides look like. And you'd also gain access to the top 10 likely issue slides, which indicate the most probable scenarios which can be tested at the exam. You will gain access to a case study familiarization kit. Once you have read through this kit, within 10 to 15 minutes, you are in a position to gain an in-depth understanding of the technicalities behind your MCS exam. You will gain access to a tutor-managed live chat and OTQ revision cards. So after attempting each mock exam, if you feel that you cannot remember a certain theoretical concept or you struggled with a certain theoretical concept, simply refer to the OTQ revision cards. In a jiffy, you are in a position to brush up your knowledge. You need not waste time to go through your past notes or bulky study texts. Simply refer to our OTQ revision cards to brush up your knowledge quickly. So the essential course is priced at £249. And talking about the premium course, this is intended for those who are coming through the exemption routes and for those who had failed the MCS exam previously. So both these sets of students have the same problem. There are gaps in theory knowledge and issues with application. So with the intention of bridging these knowledge gaps and teaching you application skills, we have included certain additional resources under the premium course on top of what appears within the essential course. So you will receive one-on-one tutor feedback on 2 mock exams, mocks 3 and 5. If you are coming through an exemption route and if you had failed the exam previously, it's essential that you understand what your shortcomings are. That's why we provide in-depth feedback focused on mocks 3 and 5. So let me quickly show you the type of feedback on offer at TCS. As you can see, we have evaluated each and every paragraph, thereby highlighting your shortcomings, because the objective of seeking out tutor feedback should be to understand your shortcomings. And if you understand your shortcomings, you can take steps to, avoid these shortcomings or improve your skill set when conducting your revision. So you can see the type of feedback on offer throughout this entire document. We have provided in-depth feedback. And towards the very end, we have determined mark allocations on a subtask by subtask basis. We have also indicated a success rate. By looking at the success rate, you can understand the subtasks in which you have scored below par marks. And after receiving this type of tutor feedback, your job is to revise by redeveloping answer plans. And when it comes to redeveloping answer plans, redevelop answer plans focused on the subtasks which are highlighted in yellow. All right, so that's this is the type of feedback on offer at TCS, and it will be essential for you if you're coming through an exemption route or if you had failed the exam previously. Also, you'd gain access to answer plans of all 6 mock exams. Let me quickly show you what an answer plan looks like. So on top of the suggested answers, we are also sharing answer plans with you. The benefit of these answer plans is the fact that it makes your life easy when it comes to understanding the logic behind each answer. Rather than having to go through pages and pages of suggested answers, you can easily understand the logic behind each answer when you go through these answer plans or answer structures. These can be considered as study summaries as well. And you can easily understand how certain theoretical elements are, should be covered when developing your answers, and how to work on application skills, and at the same time, how to bring in Preseen info when developing your answers. And on top of that, when it comes to conducting revision, you are supposed to redevelop answer plans. So you can easily carry out revision when you have access to these type of answer plans. All right. And on top of that, you'd gain access to 20 masterclasses via the premium course as well. And focused on mocks 2 to 6, we have developed masterclasses focused on each and every section of the mocks which we have developed. So in each masterclass, we are teaching you the logic behind each answer, and at the same time teaching you the theoretical concept covered within each section of our mock exams, along with teaching you application skills. So rather than learning theory in isolation and trying to figure out application on your own, when you have access to these masterclasses, you are in a position to easily understand how theoretical concepts are tested, and at the same time, how to work on your application skills whilst learning theoretical concepts. So these are the resources on offer via the premium course. So the premium course is priced at £749, which can be paid in 2 installments of £374 each, or you can opt to pay in full. If so, you'd save £100. Therefore, the price is going to be just £649. So you can click on either of these buttons and invest on your preferred course. And let me quickly take you to the MCS study plan to see what you are expected to achieve within this week. We are in week number 2. You are supposed to dedicate 8 hours of study time within this week, and you are supposed to focus on your Preseen document within this week. So watch the Preseen analysis videos, 5 videos in total, to gain an in-depth understanding of what appears within your Preseen. Then revise by referring to the annotated Preseen on your own, and then refer to the industry and financial analysis slides on your own as well. So if you stick to our study plan, you can forget about the Preseen by doing everything necessary within this week, focused on the Preseen, and beyond that point, it's a matter of attempting mock exams on a weekly basis from week number 3. So I hope you'd start your preparations right now. If not, you'd struggle due to you not having enough time to conduct your preparations, because you have to be thorough with your Preseen. And on top of that, you have to attempt 6 mock exams and conduct revision focused on the same 6 mock exams. So don't wait until the last moment. You can't do all these things within the last 2 or 3 weeks leading up to your exam. Start right now. If so, you will have ample time to improve your skill set, gain appropriate knowledge, and at the same time, balance your education with your daily routines. All right, so that's what we offer. Having said that, let's move on to the industry and Preseen analysis. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to define your market. So this time's Preseen is based on the hairdressing and salon industry. Hairdressing and salon industry. And players within this industry offer a diverse array of services. Players within this industry are into cutting and styling hair, and at the same time coloring hair, and chemical treatments are carried out as well. Chemical treatments concerning hair of customers, as well as skincare treatments are carried out, and hair care products are sold as well. These could be own branded products sold by salons, or third-party products being sold via salons. And this is a highly fragmented market. Why am I saying this? Because there's intense competition within this industry. There are large players as well as small players, local players, international players. So there's a lot of competition, and the market is dominated by independent salons. These are usually salons, individuals who are running their own salons, as well as there are large regional chains playing a major role within this industry. So, if you look at Trimayr, we can be considered as a large regional chain or a large player within this industry. And also few prominent international brands operate within this industry as well. They could be selling their own products via the salons, or they could be running their own set of salons under their own brand as well. So that's what this market is all about. And looking at the way in which this industry or this market is factioned out, or looking at market segments, we can see that there are this market can be divided into three main parts, as luxury or upmarket salons, mid-market salons, and value or budget salons. So first things first, let's look at luxury and upmarket salons. These are high-end salons, and as the name suggests, since they are providing a luxury service, they are charging a premium price because they are offering a premium experience. They are offering a premium price. So they are using the best quality material, best quality hair care products, skin care products, and whatnot. And on top of that, they employ celebrity stylists as well. And these individuals have a huge following physically as well as in an online sense. And they manage, they sell rather their own exclusive products as well, which cannot be found in the market. You can purchase these products only via these upmarket or luxury salons. And there are mid-market salons as well. These are the type of salons which are supposed to offer value for money. So what is value for money? Value for money is a situation where you provide a high quality service at the least cost, or you are charging a low price, and at the same time you are trying to offer utmost levels of value or quality as much as possible. So that is what is known as value for money. So as I mentioned earlier, these mid-market salons are offering quality services at competitive prices, and therefore these salons are attracting a broader clientele. So if you look at income-based segmentation, when looking at demographics, middle-income earners frequent these mid-market salons. So the high-income earners, frequent luxury salons, whereas middle-income earners frequent mid-market salons, and the middle-income earners are always looking for value. So that's why these mid-market salons are trying to offer value for money as much as possible. And there are value or budget salons within this industry as well, which offer basic affordable services. And as the name suggests, these salons are the cheapest in the market. So there's not a lot of personalization or a product variety on offer. Instead, they master couple of styles or 10 or 15 slides, 10 or 15 styles, and they stick to these styles. There's not a lot of personalization when you are seeking services from these value or budget salons. And these value or budget salons are usually used by school children, and at the same time used by low-income earners within a certain market. All right, so let's look at industry trends which has impacted and changed this industry. There's a high level of prominence provided towards achieving sustainability and selling ethical products. So, salons nowadays are trying to make sure that their products which they utilize within the salons, as well as the type of products which they sell via the salons, are free of harsh chemicals. Because nowadays, especially younger customers are looking after their health and well-being. So they are interested to know whether there are harsh chemicals in the hair care products which they use, or the skin care products which they use. And these products should be cruelty-free as well. They should not be tested on animals. And the younger demographics are becoming increasingly vegan, so they are looking for vegan friendly ingredients within these hair care and skincare products, and these products should be packaged sustainably as well. So there's a high level of prominence provided towards sustainability and ethical production. And there's a lot of technological and digital transformation or disruption which has impacted this industry. Therefore, there's a huge demand for online booking systems and online consultations, especially consultations tied to skincare and mobile apps. Certain major players had developed mobile apps with the intention of gathering customer data, because when you have access to customer data, you can easily keep tabs about the behavior of the customers, how much revenue they are generating, for you. And at the same time, you can keep tabs about changing trends. And whenever the trends are changing, the salons, the styles which are carried out by the hairstylists should change as well. So you can keep tabs about all these things via these mobile apps. And there are digital loyalty programs as well, in which, if you frequent a salon, for instance, if you frequent a salon every month, you will get a loyalty discount. So these type of discounts are shared via these mobile apps with the intention of generating recurring revenue as fast as possible. And there's a lot of views concerning systems such as CRM and BI systems, or customer relationship management, or business intelligence systems, with the intention of gaining an in-depth understanding of customer needs, keeping track of customer trends, and this will result in better retention. And also, these BI systems, for instance, can be utilized to cut unnecessary costs, because you need to gain an in-depth understanding about the value chain when you are providing these services. So you can keep tabs about your value chain and your value systems when you are utilizing the BI systems. Therefore, you can spot non-value adding items and get rid of them, thereby increasing the efficiency of services provision. And when doing so, you are taking steps to provide value for money, because if you reduce your costs, you are in a position to share the benefit of reduced costs via reduced prices with your customers, and this leads to higher customer loyalty. And there's a rise of personalization and premiumization as well. Tailored hair care solutions are coming into play, especially concerning the upmarket salons out there. They are into personalization as much as possible, and there are products as well, personalized, not just personalized hairstyles. There are personalized products as well, such as shampoos, conditioners, and treatment regimens, which, because various different people have various different hair. In the good olden days, everybody got the same treatment, the same type of product was used, but now that is not the case, considering the diverse hair types as well as skin types. Players within this market are introducing a higher or offering a higher level of personalization. And there's a boom in men's grooming as well. If you look at the 1950s and 1960s, men were supposed to be rugged. Men never looked after themselves. But now things has changed. There's a shifting cultural attitude towards male self-care. So that's why you can see specialized barbershops which only address the needs of males, as well as there's beard grooming. There are various different products out there in the market which are tied to beard grooming and skincare treatments. Because if you look at the 50s and 60s, men didn't have beards, because you couldn't work in an office if you had a beard or if you had long hair. But that is not the case anymore due to the cultural shifts. Men have long beards. Sometimes they have long hair, they have piercings, tattoos, and whatnot, and it will not impact their corporate lives. So because of that, men's grooming is booming as well. And there's a higher level of social media marketing happening within this industry, especially with regards to influencer marketing. So major players within this industry are leveraging social media channels, especially channels such as TikTok and YouTube Shorts, to get their products as well as styles across to customers. And these can be used to educate customers as well. And they are trying to attract new customers, thereby additionally generating additional revenue streams via influencer collaborations, especially tied to celebrities and whatnot. So these are the industry trends which is changing the dynamics within your chosen industry. So I'm not going to take you through the remaining parts of these set of slides. I just want to share information in a nutshell about your industry and how it is going to change in the future. And based on these trends, scenarios will be thrown at you at your real examination. Okay, so having said that, let's move on to the Preseen analysis. So let's go to the very top. All right, so let's try to figure out what your company is all about. So this time Preseen is based on a company which is named Trimayr, which is a franchisor of hairdressing salons. So we own our own set of salons, and on top of that, we have gone for franchised agreements as well, which indicates that we are letting third parties utilize our branding, utilize the type of services we offer typically within our own salons, thereby generating a revenue. Okay, so we own our own salons and we are involved with franchised agreements as well. And on top of that, we sell our own branded hair care products as well. So we are not just a salon chain, we are selling our own branded hair care products via these salons, thereby benefiting from an additional revenue stream. And on top of that, we operate our own hairdressing academy as well. And via this academy, we are training hairdressers, thereby again generating some additional revenue. And at the same time, our academy is involved with hordes of innovation as well, because as I mentioned earlier, this industry is ever changing. This industry is dynamic. So when the industry is rapidly changing, we need to change our internal dynamics rapidly as well. So all these things are covered in the way in which we manage our business. And we are a listed entity. And as a listed entity, we have access to debt as well as equity funding. And on top of that, as a listed entity, we need to satisfy our shareholders. And on top of that, we have to think in terms of how we run our business, thereby adhering to corporate governance best practices. And we are operating in the service sector. And if you look at the MCS, Preseens in the past, usually you would get a company which operates within the service sector. And the currency which we use is the D dollar, because we are based in Dazzland, and Dazzland's currency, functional currency is the D dollar. And Dazzland uses IASs and IFRSs for financial reporting. And looking at your role, you are supposed to play the role of a finance manager, and you are reporting to your senior finance manager. So as a finance manager, you are not expected to be conversant with just finance related elements. You have to, in this day and age, a finance manager has to provide his or her services to other departments as well. So you need to be conversant with decision-making and evaluation related elements concerning non-financial elements, or the way in which the non-financial aspects of your business as well. So you have to be conversant with your numbers. And on top of that, you have to be conversant with non-financial elements as well. So that's why your P2 and E2 related knowledge will be tested, which are non-financial, which are mostly concerned with non-financial elements. And on top of that, certain parts of your P2 syllabus as well as the F2 syllabus in its entirety will be tested at your examination. All right. So having said that, let's I'm going to skip the industry analysis because we have already covered it within the second Preseen analysis video, which we have carried out, which we have recorded rather, which can be accessed via the paid content. All right. So looking at the history of Trimayr, we were founded way back in 1974 by Magda Trimayr, and initial success is attributed to the founder. So the founder has done a good job, and in the year 2003, we have gotten a listing. And after we got the listing, the founder, Magda, has sold all her shares and exited the business. And after listing the business and after Magda left the company, in 2005, we shifted our focus from owning our own set of salons and shifted our attention towards operating focused on a franchised model. So up until 2003, we were just operating our own set of salons. Up until 2005, rather, we were just operating our own set of salons. But from 2005 onwards, we tried to exploit the franchise model as well. And at present, we own 40 company-owned or Trimayr-owned and operated salons, and we own or we have signed franchise agreements with 520 salons out there. So we have our own set of salons, 40 in total, and we have signed franchise agreements with 520 salons out there as well. And Trimayr salons are known to be at the forefront of new trends, which is extremely good for publicity, customer loyalty, and customer retention. So since inception, we have been innovative. Why am I saying this? Because we started way back in 1974, and up until 2005, we have been successful when we were running our own set of salons. And beyond that point, again, we have been successful, and our reputation is based on the fact that we are at the forefront of new trends. And as a listed company, your key areas of focus should be with regards to how we deal with our shareholders, and on top of that, how we deal with an additional set of stakeholders. First things first, as a listed company, our priority should be to satisfy our shareholders. As a profit-seeking company, we should satisfy our shareholders or the owners of the company as much as possible. So you have to think about how your decisions are going to impact the share price, because the share price reflects investor confidence. If your decision leads to investor dissatisfaction, then it will negatively impact the share price. So you have to make sure that you always think in terms of how your decisions are going to impact shareholder confidence. If we are in a position to satisfy our shareholders, then the share price will increase. When the share price increases, again, the shareholders will be satisfied. And you have to manage various different stakeholders more in the most successful manner. If not, it will impact investor confidence in an adverse manner. So what type of stakeholders am I talking about? We have to satisfy our clients as much as possible. We have to have good relationships with our franchisees or principals. I'm going to talk about what these principles are later. So we have to have a good relationship with our franchisees, our own management within our own set of salons, our own set of employees. And on top of that, we need to have good relationships with our suppliers, because we rely on them to manufacture and sell our own branded products, hair care products. So when it comes to us selling shampoos, conditioners, and whatnot, yes, we are selling our own branded products, but they are produced by third-party suppliers. So we have to have a good relationship with them, or else the quality of our own branded products might be negatively influenced. And as a company which is listed, we have to uphold corporate governance best practices. And when it comes to reporting, we should not just report about the financial performance of the company. We have to conduct integrated reporting as well, thereby informing the public about our non-financial performance. And segmental reporting, although this was taken out of your MCS syllabus, if you look at your financial statements, the revenues had been divided into various different segments. So you have to be conversant with what segmental reporting is. Don't worry, we have covered it within the 5th Preseen analysis video, which we have conducted, which can be accessed via the paid content. Then you'd understand what segmental reporting is all about. So the technicalities behind segmental reporting will not be tested at the exam. However, you have to have a good understanding of what segmental reporting is. And your knowledge pertaining to IAS 33 earnings per share will be tested, given the fact that we are a listed company. And as a listed company, as I mentioned earlier, we have access to various different funding options, not just debt. We have access to equity funding as well. So you need to have a good understanding of the advantages and disadvantages of each funding option, and how each funding option will impact our gearing ratio. All right, so Moving on, looking at the way in which we run our franchised salons, let's look at the most important stakeholder within each of these franchise salons. There's an individual who is termed as the franchise principal. So this is the owner of the business or owner of the salon. So let's assume we have signed a franchise agreement. The person with whom we have signed the franchise agreement is considered as the franchise principal. And this individual is accountable for operation of the salon. So it's essential that we have a good relationship with each franchise principal, because if you don't have a good relationship, then if they run the business in an adverse manner, if they don't address the needs of customers in the most successful manner, if the customers are dissatisfied, then our brand will be impacted negatively. So when going for this franchised model, it's essential that we make sure that each principal does his or her job properly, to make sure that they run their salons in the most successful manner. If not, our bottom line will be impacted, our reputation will be impacted if something goes wrong due to a principal not managing his or her salon in the most successful manner. And these principals need not be qualified in hairdressing. They should only be conversant about running a business. They need not be conversant with hairdressing, because these elements should be managed by each manager within each of these franchise salons. And they need not work full-time in salons as well, because when running a business, you need not work full-time. Instead, you can appoint a manager to look into these daily nitty-gritties. And Trimayr provides feedback to principals on their performance every month end. So we use a certain set of KPIs to keep track of the performance of each of these franchise parties, which is essential. And Trimayr keeps tabs about performance via these KPIs, and the performance is information pertaining to the performance of each salon is shared with these principals at the end of each month. And looking at salon premises, Trimayr advises salons to lease premises. Yeah, it makes sense, because rather than purchasing a location outright, it makes financial and business sense when you opt for a lease agreement, because as per a lease agreement, you need to go for a small down payment, and you can pay the remaining amount of money across a long period of time on a monthly basis. So it makes financial sense to go for a lease agreement. And interiors of these salons must align with Trimayr's style guide. So this is how a typical franchise business model works. And we have invested on electronic point of sale systems, or POS systems, which is intended to capture data on total customer visits. We keep tabs about how many customer visits occur within a month concerning each of the 520 franchise salons with which we deal on a daily basis. And we keep tabs about waiting time concerning each customer. Our job should be to reduce the waiting time as much as possible. Duration of service after being seated, if we can reduce the duration of time, if possible, then it's better. And revenue from styling, treatment, and sales of hair care products are kept tabs of via this point of sale system. And we generate daily reports for principals utilizing this point of sale system, and copies of the data captured via these point of sale systems will be automatically sent or shared with Trimayr's head office. So the head office keeps tabs about the performance of each of these salons on a daily basis to see whether they are doing a good job or not. So we are utilizing the point of sale, which is a key element of the way in which we keep tabs about the performance of each of our principals. And also, we are using a set of KPIs. And as I mentioned earlier, we are using a mix of financial and non-financial KPIs. The financial KPIs are the average spend per customer visit and revenue per square meter, whereas we are reliant on a set of non-financial KPIs such as number of new customers, which gives us an indication about customer satisfaction levels, existing customer retention rate, which again gives us an indication about customer satisfaction levels, average waiting time per customer visit, which gives us an indication about customer satisfaction, as well as the way in the efficiency in which we operate each of these salons. Average service time per customer visit again gives us an indication about efficiency and customer satisfaction. And staff turnover gives us an indication about how well these principals are managing their own employees, because since we are operating in the service sector, it's essential that we attract and retain skilled and motivated hairdressers, because if they keep leaving these franchised salons on a regular basis, then it will impact the way in which these franchised salons are carrying out their services. And if they're not doing a good job, then it will impact our brand in an adverse manner. So it's essential that we keep tabs about staff turnover. If staff turnover is high within a certain salon, then we should think about maybe discontinuing our relationship with the franchise principal. All right, so then let's look at how we utilize our business intelligence system. This BIS, or the business intelligence system, generates additional reports for managers at Trimayr, as well as the individuals at head office. Okay, so we are utilizing the BI for decision making, which is good. However, the problem is we are using structured and unstructured data, which is not gathered for any specific reason. So this is a problem. We have invested on a BI system, but we are not utilizing it to generate real value. So this happens in any given business, because usually you go for a subscription model because there's no point of creating your own BI system. It's highly unlikely that Trimayr had built their own BI, given the fact that we are not in the IT sector, we are in the hairdressing sector or the salon sector. So probably we have gone for a subscription model. And when you opt for a subscription model, usually you get necessary as well as unnecessary services. So probably that's why we are gathering a lot of data, which is actually not used for decision-making purposes. So that's a shortcoming concerning the way in which we utilize our BI. And looking at the franchise agreements, usually a franchise agreement is signed for 5 years. And after the time expires or 5 years expire, renewal, franchise parties will go for renewal, and renewal is at our discretion. We have the power to decide whether we are renewing this agreement or not, and majority of franchises are renewed. And if these principals are not achieving the KPIs on a continuous manner, we have the right to call off these franchised agreements as well. And based on all this information, the possible exam scenarios which can be tested is tied to non-compliant salon interiors. If a certain principal is not complying with our needs concerning salon interiors, then we have to call off the agreements, and this creates unnecessary conflicts or disputes. So you should have the capability of managing these conflicts and disputes as per what's highlighted within your E2 syllabus. And there could be a scenario where, due to us relying on our POS system, we are fed with inaccurate data. Could be due to a technical issue, or could be due to a franchise principal interfering with the POS system. Because as I mentioned earlier, the performance of each of our salons are kept track of via this POS system. So it motivates principals to interfere with this POS system with the intention of boosting their performance. So that could be a scenario which can be tested at the exam, and tied to all these things. Again, conflict management and dispute management can be tested. Upgrading the existing point of sale system to capture more data can be tested. And when going for these type of upgrades, your knowledge pertaining to funding options can be tested, as well as investment appraisals, because when opting for these upgrades, it will expose us to additional finances, additional costs. And before finalizing these decisions, it's essential that we conduct investment appraisal. So these elements can be tested at the exam. And the same could be said about upgrading our business intelligence systems as well. And we might be faced with data privacy related issues, especially given the fact that we are gathering personal customer data via the point of sale system. And this might expose us to, for instance, if you are exposed to a data breach, this might expose us to litigation. And also expect to introduce new KPIs to salons as well, because on top of the existing KPIs, considering a scenario which is highlighted within your examination, you are expected to suggest KPIs in addition to the existing set of KPIs. So that's an element which can be tested, and there could be performance evaluation disputes because performance of a salon can be impacted due to external factors, which is always not under the control of a franchise principal. What am I talking about? Now, let's assume there's a salon which is functioning properly. All of a sudden, in close vicinity, a competitor puts up a salon. When this is the case, the competitor will take steps to reduce their prices, thereby trying to penetrate the market. And at the same time, they might try to carve out a better type of competitiveness by offering better services or better quality, or offering better quality products at a reduced price. When this is the case, the performance of a franchise principal will be adversely impacted, not due to his or her performance, but due to a competitor taking action against us. So these type of scenarios can be tested at the exam, and franchisee disputing non-renewal by, due to underperformance of KPIs. If so, this leads to disputes as well. And on top of that, franchisee might terminate the contract with us and start his or her own salon, independent salon as well. They might sign an agreement with another party, thereby going for a new franchised agreement. All these things will expose us to conflicts and issues, because once you run a salon for 5 years, you will gather some type of customer loyalty. And this customer loyalty can be leveraged to open your own salon as well. And if someone does so, it will impact our bottom line in a negative manner. So these type of scenarios can be tested at the exam, and litigation or court cases relating to disputes with franchisees can be utilized to test your understanding about IAS 37 provisions, contingent assets, and contingent liabilities, for instance. So the examinable syllabus areas are tied to performance measurement. So since we are already utilizing financial and non-financial performance measures, your knowledge pertinent to the balance scorecard can be tested at the exam. Your knowledge pertinent to internal benchmarking can be tested, because we are utilizing the POS system to keep tabs about performance of each and every franchised entity. And at the same time, we are utilizing various different KPIs to keep tabs about performance. So therefore, we are conducting internal benchmarking at the moment. As opposed to internal benchmarking, you should be able to evaluate other benchmarking methods as well, if it offers better value compared to internal benchmarking. Then when running business in a turbulent business environment, in an ever-changing business environment, in a highly competitive business environment, we will be exposed to business risks. So you are expected to have the capability to identify business risks and suggest mitigatory action to avoid these business risks. Then your knowledge pertaining to investment appraisals, especially if we are upgrading our POS or BI systems, will be tested. Project management skills will be tested, especially if we are introducing a new product to the market. If we are going for a new business model, for instance, then project management techniques will be tested. Then your knowledge pertaining to negotiation can be tested, especially when dealing with conflicts, and therefore conflict resolution related knowledge can be tested as well. And also, as I mentioned earlier, tied to litigation, your knowledge pertaining to IAS 37 provisions, contingent assets, and contingent liabilities can be tested, along with IAS 38 intangible assets and IFRS 16 right of use assets or leases, since we own our own set of salons, and we might have some of our salons might be on lease agreements. That's why right of use assets appear within your balance sheet or the statement of financial position. So definitely your knowledge pertaining to IFRS 16 leases can be tested at the examination. So we don't have enough time to take you through the entire Preseen. I said that I'm going to take you through the internal dynamics of your chosen company partially. That's exactly what I've achieved. If you want to gain access to the remaining set of Preseen analysis videos, all 5 videos, then you can gain access to them via the paid content. All right, so that's what I wanted to highlight in today's webinar. And I'm happy to say that we achieved a 92% pass rate in the February MCS sitting. So if you stick to our study plan and attempt the 6 mock exams and conduct revision, then you can definitely pass your examination. So this individual who failed the MCS exam previously started utilizing our resources just 4 weeks before the exam and ended up scoring 97 marks when the pass mark is just 80. If this individual who started 4 weeks before the exam can achieve this feat, just imagine what you can achieve if you start right now. So you have 7 weeks at your disposal, which is enough and more time to master your Preseen as well as master your skill set and be aware or conversant with how each syllabus area is tested at the exam. You can master your answering, time management, and stress management techniques when attempting mocks and when conducting revision. You can easily learn all theoretical concepts and improve your application skills by watching the master classes. So you can tackle all these things if you start right now, because if you wait until the last moment, you won't have enough time to conduct revision. Conducting revision is crucial to pass this examination. So I urge you to start right now. If you do so, if you stick to our study plan, you will definitely pass with flying colors. You will definitely score more than 95 marks. All right, having said that, we are moving to the Q&A. If you have any questions or concerns, you can raise them right now. I'm going to pause the recording. All right, folks. So thank you very much for those questions. I love it when you ask a lot of questions. I hope I addressed everything. So if you want to contact us, you can do it via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com. Visit our website and click on the contact button and drop us a message. Our admin staff will get in touch with you via email during office hours. And if you want, you can directly email us at info@study@tcs.com or simply drop us a message via this WhatsApp number. And I urge you guys to follow us on our social media handles, especially YouTube and TikTok, because the recorded versions of these weekly webinars and workshops will be uploaded onto our YouTube handle. Also, via TikTok, you'd gain access to 6 videos, which is a good Preseen mind map. So from today until your examination, keep watching these TikTok videos over and over, which is the best way to ensure that you constantly keep yourself reminded of the most important points which appear within your Preseen document. Also, I urge you guys to read the blog post on Trimayr. Therefore, after reading this blog post, you are in a position to gain a good understanding about your industry and the internal dynamics of your chosen company in a jiffy. All right, so having said that, it brings us to the end of today's Preseen analysis. I hope you gained a good understanding of your chosen industry and what Trimayr is up to. I urge you to start your preparations right now, and within this week, watch the 5 Preseen analysis videos. Once you're done with these 5 videos, you will gain a good understanding of what your company is up to, what appears within its financial statements, and what type of an industry your company operates. And once you're done with it, from next week onwards, let's kickstart mock attempts. So I will teach you answering and time management techniques. After learning these elements, let's start practicing mocks and conducting revision. So thank you very much for joining. I expect to see you guys next week at our 3rd and most important webinar, answering technique. Thank you for joining. Take care.